A man who wears the 10 pounds of gold, the nature boy, Ric Flair.
You know, I always like to take this opportunity to talk about myself.
The 16-time heavyweight champion has arrived.
I've got the style and profile like never before.
The greatest talker in the history of the business is behind the mic once again.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine like jet flying, son of a gun. Woo!
This is Wooooo Nation with Ric Flair.
I'm the man. Ric Flair.
Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair, 16 times. Woo! Your world champion. So happy to be back in Atlanta, Georgia. Traveling around the world, Seattle, Dallas, Richmond, Virginia, Germany, you name it. The Nature's been there. I'm home. And with me today is my infamous best friend, the second wealthiest man in the state of Alabama. The legendary owner of the Conradison, sometimes referred to as the Mustang Ranch, depending on the mood. Anyway, the slayer of not only dragons, but many women, the legendary Conrad Thompson. Conrad, how are you, buddy?
Man, I'm in a great mood today, and I'm so glad that you're in a better mood now that you've actually been able to sleep. We did one earlier in the week, and I could tell you were on fumes, man.
Well, I tell you what, 17 days drinking every day is a lot, even for the Nates. And I don't mean just conservative drinking.
No, I imagine you were putting some numbers on the board.
Oh, man, I'm an official Samoan chief now, hanging around with the Usos and Roman Reigns. Good Lord. I need to get my third Hall of Fame ring just for hanging around them for 10 days. Good Lord.
well, hey, man, before we get going, I know we've got a great guest today, and we're going to get into a lot of fun stuff. Man, what a promo from Charlotte on Raw this week. How awesome was that?
Well, to me, I know I'm biased, and people are always going to say, you know, it's your daughter. She is on fire, and that promo was off the charts. And that came from Hunter to Vince to Stephanie. Everybody told her. They walked over. It was that good. She's on fire, man. She's got it down. And then her match last night with Natalia, Natty Neihart, was phenomenal, too. And then Bree ran down, and they're going to go into this show on Sunday on fire. They better put them on late, because if they put them on early, they'll be hard to follow.
Well, I tell you what, man, all of a sudden this Fastlane card got real intriguing because it seems like people kind of had their WrestleMania plans mapped out, and now at the last minute it looks like maybe there's some retooling. Yeah. And this is the most fun time of the year to be a wrestling fan to me. It's WrestleMania season.
It is, and I mean everything, all the preparation, the tickets are sold. You know they've got everything set to go. Just got to get down to 5 more weeks of, 6 more weeks of whatever of TV, and but real exciting TV going into WrestleMania. So, you know, new Hall of Famers to be announced, the matches to be put together, and then, you know, the work that goes into to bringing the matches to realization in Dallas at WrestleMania. And then, of course, you and me in the Big D for 8 whole days. Hello.
Yeah, my check liver light will be on when I get back to Huntsville, that's for sure.
Oh, your check liver light will be on after the second day there. I got news for you. Darius Rucker's coming. Wendy's got new pink cowboy boots. Are you kidding?
Wow. So, hey, I'm just curious. Are you getting a Casper mattress flown to the hotel so you can style and profile the whole week?
How did you know? I wasn't even going to tell Wendy. Yeah, and actually Wendy can put the figure 8 on now, so it's pretty cool.
I got to tell you, I'm actually looking forward to hearing more great stories from the Nature Boy in Dallas because I won't remember very much of it. So you'll have to remind me of it later.
Actually modeled the Mark Weldon for.
So, hey, we're waiting on our great friend Bruce Prichard. He's going to be our guest here today. And, I don't think a lot of people really understand the importance and, his knowledge and what he meant to the WWF and then later the WWE. So before he gets here, go ahead and give everybody your perspective on what Bruce's contribution to the business really was.
Well, God, it's, to me, Bruce is one of the geniuses of the business, of the industry. I mean, he's right there with my estimation with Michael Hayes and Pat Patterson and, Dusty and, of course, Vince and Stephanie and Hunter. But, I mean, he was there when the Undertaker thing came together. I mean, he's been there through so many pivotal positions for the company that I just think his knowledge of the business and the fact that he is a great entertainer himself. I mean, the brother love thing I thought was one of the best of all time, and he pulled that off. I'm not even sure why it's not there, and I'm not sure why it's not with WWE right now. But I do understand that he's had health issues with his wife, and he's at home now. And probably his schedule up there, which is very hectic, as you know, it would be a lot for Bruce. But it's not for lack of credentials or credibility. He's a genius.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to getting some of his insight on, some old fun stories. But really, since we are WrestleMania season, and it kind of seems like that's what everybody's talking about, I want to hear his perspective on, if he was still there booking, what he would do for WrestleMania. Yeah,
that'd be great. I think that's a great question. I think the problem is that no matter what he said, he wouldn't have final say. I just asked Michael Hayes a question today. I said, "You're absurd asking me this now. We haven't got to Sunday yet." So it's the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and I'm talking about one of my favorite things: bed. Not just any bed, but my king size Casper mattress. Wendy put me in the figure 8 the other night on the Casper, and my life has never been the same. Woo! Get $50 toward any mattress purchase by visiting www.casper.com, Flair, and using the promo code FLAIR, F-L-A-I-R. Seriously, we love our Casper mattress. It's an obviously engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price. Just the right sink, just the right bounce. 2 technologies, latex foam and memory foam, come together for better nights and brighter days. Woo-hoo. Risk-free trial, return policy. Try sleeping on a Casper for 100 days with free delivery and painless returns. Mattresses made in America, $500 for a twin-sized and $950 for a king-size mattress. Are you kidding me? You will love this mattress as much as the Nature Boy does. Woo, woo, woo. Take advantage of a special offer. Get $50 toward any mattress purchase by visiting www.casper.com, Flair, and using the promo code FLAIR. Woo! Casper mattress. All the ladies love Slick Rick. You know they love Woo Nation. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. I love wearing my Mack Weldon, and Wendy loves my Mack Weldon too. Go to MackWeldon.com and get 20% off using the promo code FLAIR. That's FLAIR. Woo, Mack Weldon. They're easy to buy, high quality, and very comfortable. Mack Weldon underwear, socks, and shirts are antimicrobial, which means they eliminate odor. You can't expect to score with the ladies if you stink. Mack Weldon is so sure you will love their underwear that if you don't like your first pair, they will refund you, no questions asked, and you can keep the pair. Wow, that's cool. If Mack Weldon is good enough for the 16-time heavyweight champion of the world, then they are good enough for you. Once again, support Woo Nation and go to MackWeldon.com WCWDX.com and get 20% off using the promo code FLAIR. That's FLAIR. Go Mac Weldon. Woo!
All right, so Rick, now Bruce is with us. Bruce, we were just kind of talking a little bit before about, WrestleMania season coming up this weekend. We've got Fastlane. You were there for a long time, and if you were there now, given kind of the circumstances they have with injuries and all of that, how would you try to salvage WrestleMania from what the original plans are? It seems like none of that is possible thanks to all the injuries. What would Bruce do?
Well, again, it is difficult because of all the injuries. And it's also difficult because you can have the greatest ideas in the entire world. If the boss doesn't anoint it, then it's not something he's going to endorse. It's never going to fly anyway. Right. If I had carte blanche, okay, and based on what they have right now, you're going towards Hunter and you're going towards Roman Reigns. I mean, that's the direction that it appears to be going in. They built to it. So to try and change that now is kind of a moot point.
Right.
But when you're looking at opponents for Undertaker, you're looking at opponents for Brock Lesnar, those are your money guys.
Right.
And what are you going to do with them? And it just brings a lot of conjecture. You can fantasy book all you want, put Undertaker and Goldberg.
Right.
Is that an attractive match?
Sure.
Never happened. Possibly. But is Goldberg willing to come in and do business and come in and want to do that? Who knows?
Well,
Right.
Let me ask you a question. What makes you think that Reigns is walking out of there?
Because of the way that they built it so far.
Uh-huh.
And with where they're going and the way they built everything, I'm just looking at, I don't have that insider's view. I'm looking at it strictly from a fan and looking at it strictly what they put on TV.
Right.
I see that it appears that they're pushing Reigns to that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too, but I just never know because, I think that, every time they need something big, like Brock's on SportsCenter. I mean, it's hard to get other guys on SportsCenter.
Right.
I never walk away without the possibility that Brock might be in the main event there too. You know what I mean? I'm like you, but I think clearly they have pushed Roman really hard.
He really and truly he should be.
Yeah. Well,
so
have
Bruce,
you seen?
If you were to go in with that line of thinking where it was Roman and it was Triple H and maybe Undertaker, Goldberg, what would you have in mind for a guy like Brock Lesnar?
What would I have in mind, or what do they? It's hard because of the way they book certain guys. Kevin Owens, if you had brought Kevin Owens in and you had built him the right way,
right?
Man, I would have bought a Brock Kevin Owens match. Now, please forget about it,
right?
Because I think Brock would just kill him. A guy like Alberto Del Rio, personally, I think that would be a great match, Brock and Alberto Del Rio. If you told Del Rio's backstory, an MMA fighter, was a shoot fighter, he's got a great history, looks great, he looks the part, and he could deliver. I think he could deliver a great match with Brock.
Now, first of all, I'm a big fan of Del Rio's, and he and I have become good friends. I did not know he had a background in MMA.
Yes.
Yeah, he actually fought in Pride in Japan, Rick, years ago. And
I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't come across as a tough, bully type kid at all. That's great. I didn't know he had that kind of background.
He really does. He's got a hell of a pedigree. He did well in that genre. He did well in MMA.
Wow.
And he was a name in Pride. He did do things. But you just take a look at him. And if you were back in the old days, you're sitting around smoking a cigar with some of the old-timers, go, I can see that kid as a champion. Yeah. God, I could see building an entire territory around him.
Well, let me tell you, it won't be because he's not handsome enough. The kid is, he looks like $1 million bucks.
He's beautiful.
Hey, and
he's a good-looking guy. The girls would go gravitate towards him. The guys would want to be him, and he can back it up when the bell rings.
Yeah, and he is a great performer too. I mean, the kid can work, man. He can really go. I'm more impressed by him every time I see him.
Well, now that you know that he has an MMA background, I mean, you think about that. If they were to exploit that in the way that he did work like that, he did used to work that what they call strong style, I guess.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's believable, and he made it believable. He's one of the few luchadors that have crossed over and really meant something, and people can buy him and believe in him.
Yeah, I think, though, and I'm being facetious right now, but every time I see Lesnar throwing everybody around, I think Del Rio likes being on the other side of the ring from somebody else. Because I don't care how tough he was. Lesnar's a different deal. And I don't know how much more Dean Ambrose can take. God dang it. When he calls him out and tells him to come back and bring me more, I die. And I tell him to his face, Ambrose, you need psychiatric help, man. Who's ever writing that down, just say no.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, no.
He threw both Ambrose and Reigns across the ring last night, 10 feet in the air. It was brutal.
You know why? Because he can. And every time he does it, people in the arena, people on TV sit there and go, wow.
Yeah, that's why Del Rio should probably sit where he's at.
So, Bruce, talking about WrestleMania a little bit, what do you think, what would you do with a guy like Bray Wyatt?
Wow, again, everything is just so fragmented because of the injuries.
Right.
It's tough. I started putting pencil and paper to it the other day, and you look at that roster, it's slim pickings. Mm-hmm. And getting into WrestleMania season now, it's not like you've got a whole lot of time to bring in somebody fresh and new from NXT and get them over in time to do anything at WrestleMania.
Well, you mentioned Goldberg. Are they talking to Goldberg about wrestling?
I have no idea. That's what I say. That's completely out of from a fan perspective. Yeah. Who's not there? Who could bring some interest and maybe some new eyeballs? Mm-hmm. You know.
You think there's any chance they try to bring Sting back just one more time for the Undertaker match?
There could always be a chance. I don't know what the extent of his injuries either.
He can't wrestle again, guys.
Yeah. So I mean, that's
and now take it back. To my knowledge, because we had him on the podcast, he made it pretty clear to Conrad and I that he has to have surgery if he even wants to consider wrestling again. And I don't think he's had it, has he? I haven't heard that he has.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
But it's like, you know, Rick, you just brought it back to reality. The reality is who can step into that spot and deliver and make it so that it's a money match, so that people are going to want to see it, and also make it a match that you can't pick them. You can't pick who that winner is. And with Goldberg, that would be one you could sit there and go, what are they going to do?
Do you still think there's a chance that Super Cena could beat expectations and come back just for that match?
Sure. There's always that chance.
Yeah.
Cena's a cyborg.
Right.
You just you can plug him in and go, and I'm sure if you were to ask John Cena whether or not he could come back, he would be back in a heartbeat.
Wow.
But there's, that's a tough one, man, because it's Taker, it's Texas, it's 100,000 people. Yeah, I heard the rumblings of the big kid in Bray Wyatt's camp, Strowman.
Yeah.
I just don't think that the audience would accept that.
Right.
To me, that's a step down. That's a WrestleMania 9 Taker versus Giant Gonzalez match.
Yeah.
Or Taker versus...
Well, in all fairness to Ron, he just doesn't have the experience.
I'm not... In 2 years?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. No, they brought him in on the fly, and he really has never had a chance to he's not put in a position where he can learn. He's always in a position of having to perform, and it's a lot. It can be overwhelming. He's big enough and strong enough to pull it off, but just not enough name recognition.
And it's not fair to him to put him in that position at this time.
Well, let's talk about that, Rick. You were there when WCW brought in Paul White and made him the Giant and put the belt on him in his first match, and that didn't happen because he was of his technical prowess. He wasn't Ricky Steamboat. It was because he was huge. And
no. Let me tell you. But here's the difference. Paul White, our friend Big Show, played Division I collegiate basketball.
Right.
He's more coordinated than any big guy in the business. He's unbelievable. And he caught on as fast as, he's not Kurt Angle caught on, but he caught on so fast. And he's big and strong and agile. And to this day, the guys don't do it with him. I don't know why. But he can press slam, he can power slam, he can suplex off a time. He can do anything. The guys just don't do it with him. He doesn't push the button. I mean, I used to love doing that with him because he was so safe. But you can't compare Big Show to Ron. It's just two different guys.
Oh, no, I'm not necessarily saying that their talent was the same. I'm just saying some of that is still the booking, is it not? In that it's the way the Giant was booked to just, accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. And not to say that he wasn't just a natural, but there's no way that early in his career, he was already at the world championship level of knowledge. He just got there because of his size and then had to play catch-up ball, so to speak. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I guess, because it was my recommendation that he manage someone until he learned more about, working. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
but Hulk wanted him to be the Giant's son. That was I didn't like that at all, and number one, I thought it was disrespectful to Andre because to follow that character and that guy and that legend of the guy was asking a lot, and number two, I think it's a lot of pressure on the Big Show to be Andre the Giant's son. I mean, it is what it is. I see the issues with anybody that's a second generation in real life. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's taken Ashley. Ashley, for the first 2 years, people were just saying she was there because she was my daughter. Well, we all know that's bullshit. She's the best performer in the women's diva division, and she's the best athlete in the company. And you know what? Guys won't argue that because she's that good an athlete. But, I mean, and how do you measure that? Pick out free sports and have them go play it. No, she's just a tremendous athlete, but it took a long time to get over the stigma of being my daughter. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now she's got a groove and she's found herself and she's very comfortable, but she's still going to hear that stuff from people that are jealous. The business guys that nobody. Sure. The saying is if they're talking about you, you're doing something good, but it still hurts.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
Back in the day when the Nature Boy was riding high, I bought myself a limousine, hired a kid to drive me around. He had the time of his life. Now I use Uber when I need to get around. If you're looking to make some extra money, you can drive with Uber using your own car. Uber is a smartphone app that connects riders with drivers, and it's totally flexible. You don't have to quit your day job to make more money because Uber lets you make extra money on your schedule. Whatever you need to make extra money, just turn on the app and drive. A few hours here, a few hours there, it all adds up fast. And it's really easy to get started. First, go to drivewithuber.com to sign up for free. You can do it right now on your phone. Okay, second, answer a few basic questions about you and your car, then get approved. Third, start driving. That's all there is to it. I told you it was easy. Start enjoying the flexibility of working when you want and earning extra money on your schedule. Sign up to drive with Uber today. Go to drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com. Drive with UBER.com. Woo!
It's a lot different when you take, we'll take Ashley, for example, or you take Kevin, Kerry, and David, Von Erich, for example. Mm-hmm. These were guys that could go in and they could perform and they could do it versus a George Gulas, who was Nick Gulas' son, who was put in the main event because he was George's son, and that was the only reason that he was there.
Yeah, I never met him, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but he didn't have the talent. He wasn't able to do it. The younger Von Erich, Mike, and they didn't have the talent. They didn't have the talent of Kerry and David and Kevin.
Yeah,
they just didn't. But they were put there because of their name.
They didn't have the size either. I mean,
exactly.
Those three kids were genetically gifted. I mean, especially Kevin and Kerry. My God, David was built more like a basketball player, but he was a good athlete and obviously a really good performer. Yeah,
right.
It's funny. I just, sometimes my heart goes out to her because she and Conrad have bonded because God forbid I say anything. She doesn't believe a word I say, so she'll ask Conrad's opinion. Am I right, Conrad?
No, you're exactly right. And she's doing great. And there is a lot of, there's a lot of smack talk on the internet, but that exists, all across with everyone.
And that's the part that gets me. And it seems like I'm always sticking up for Hunter for whatever reason. I just think he's a talented guy. But if you had put Ashley in and no one knew who the hell she was,
right,
they'd all be screaming about she's the second coming, the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
But because her dad's standing there with her now, and you tell her that it's a Flair, well, that's the only reason she's there.
Right. It's just easy to...
Well, that's not happening so much anymore.
Yeah, it's also not true when you measure apples to apples.
Right.
Yeah.
She's there.
Yeah, and she's better than I was all day long. So that, as an athlete... And
well, see, here's the deal. People on the internet, when Rick says that, they get fired up. But what he means when he says that is 3 or 4 years into his career, compared to her 3 or 4 years into her career, she's at another level from where he was at that time. Not the 1986 Ric Flair.
No, but what I'm just saying that this is what I mean. Could I do a moonsault if I had started doing them 20 years or when I first got going? Yeah. But I mean, I'm not the athlete that she is. I'm admitting it.
It's a different caliber athlete. Would you agree?
What's that?
It's a different caliber of athlete
in the business today.
Yes.
Performing in the business today.
It is, but
back in the day.
That's true in all sports.
It is.
You look at football players back then and now, and basketball then and now, and baseball then and now. With what we know about science and nutrition and all that others, everything's different.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's like Fifi. Could Fifi beat Charlotte? Well, I don't know.
Maybe on a Casper mattress. Hey, Rick, we went to the internet this week on Twitter, and we asked for something a little different. We've had a lot of success with #AskNach, and this week we went #AskBruce. And since we're kind of talking about nepotism and kids in the business and how all that works, we had a great question from Lenny that's aimed for you, Bruce. Were you surprised when Shane left the biz?
Yes, I was. I was surprised because Shane loved the business. Shane loved the company and loved every single aspect of the business. Now, I'm going to give you a flip side on the personal side of Shane. Was I surprised that Shane left for the reasons that he did, which were his own personal reasons, and not wanting to have a bunch of drama that he felt was unnecessary? That didn't surprise me. That part didn't surprise me. The fact that Shane would walk away from the business that he loved, grew up, was a part of his makeup and his identity, that surprised me.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I was as shocked as you are, Bruce, but I don't know what preempted that or what happened. Because one day he was there and one day he was gone.
Right, and again, that's I get to that point too. The only ones that really know is Shane.
Yeah, exactly.
That truly really knows is Shane.
Family.
I mean, we've discussed it, but that's a personal conversation I've had with Shane, and it was not the rumor and innuendo. It's just that, rumor and innuendo.
Yeah.
That no one's ever going to really know until you were in Shane's shoes.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of those things that really is like one of the few times we can say it's nobody's business but theirs.
Exactly.
But he's doing, the important thing is he's doing well on his own and seems to be very happy. I just talked to him the other day, so I called him in the middle of the night when we were in Germany. Hey, man, we're thinking about you.
A lot of people, I hear.
What? Hey, man, we're thinking about you.
Hey, but you're right, Rick. It's only your friends that are going to call you at 5 o'clock in the morning when you're drunk in another country. I've been telling people that for years. Only your friends call you late at night. Exactly.
It's a compliment. Now I call Conrad in the middle of the night, and I get some raspy woman's voice going, "Hi, this is Conrad Thompson. Please leave a number." Christ. That's so un-Conrad-like.
Yeah, when we're in Dallas, I'm going to have you record my new intro for me, my new outgoing voice.
Oh, my God. This is Conrad. Please leave a message. Jesus.
Oh,
how can a guy that owns a Conrad doesn't have a woman on his voicemail?
Because he can.
Because what?
I said because he can.
Yeah. Okay.
Going back to Twitter, Tony Barker on Twitter asked, was there any consideration to put Curt Hennig in the Red Rooster character and Terry Taylor as Mr. Perfect? That's a long-running internet rumor.
What?
there's a rumor that one day you guys were just passing out gimmicks, and one guy got the Red Rooster and one guy got Perfect. Do you remember how all that came about?
Absolutely, positively not. With Red Rooster, how that gimmick came, Vince met Terry Taylor, thought he was cocky and arrogant, reminded him of a rooster, and thought that this song's got truth. I know Terry and everybody thinks it was a rib, this, that.
It wasn't a rib.
It was not a rib. Okay. No, it was. He saw him as this cocky rooster, the cock of the walk, and wanted him to be the Red Rooster. Wanted to do his hair and to strut and be that guy. But Terry looked at it as a rib and thought everybody was goofing on him, and all the boys, they ribbed him and laughed at him. If he had embraced it, made it his own, it would have been all the difference in the world. Then you go to Perfect, and here you had a guy in Curt Hennig who was a natural athlete. He played every sport that there was in high school. He was the AWA champion at the time when we were looking at doing all this. And Pat Patterson, and we're sitting there, and Pat is talking about, this guy is great. I love to go play golf with him. He's a hunterman. He's a fisherman. He does this. He does that. He's perfect at everything he does. And we were going to make him the all-around athlete.
Right.
And everything that Pat would say would be, he's perfect at that. He's perfect. And he became Mr. Perfect.
Wow.
So that's a great story right there. That's great.
It was, but the better story is when we started doing vignettes for Mr. Perfect. You know Curt. Curt was a consummate ribber.
Right.
Okay? And if Curt wasn't having fun, he wasn't awake. Right. Okay? But we would do these vignettes, man, and like the dart was the first one that we did, and we're in Vince's house, and Vince has a dartboard up in the billiard room, and so on and so forth, and Curt is nailing the bullseye from the regulation line. He's standing back, and he's nailing the bullseye. Great, we get everything set up and all this, and we start rolling tape. Curt throws the dart. Hits the wall.
Wow.
Okay, Curt, stop messing around. Curt throws another dart. It's way off. No exaggeration. I bet you we took at least 50 takes before we finally had to use just move the camera to get Curt closer so that he could hit the bullseye. And then the son of a bitch would be on the basketball court and be warming up and hit every shot in the world. We'd roll tape. Couldn't think anything. Couldn't hit the backboard. And what I learned to do with Curt...
Lie about when the camera was rolling.
Never told him when the camera was rolling.
Right.
And we just shot him, and then I would do the, absolutely perfect, all that stuff after the fact.
I see.
But the whole idea with the Mr. Perfect gimmick was you had to shoot it all in one shot so that he was actually perfect. If you edited it, people go, it's bullshit. They edited that. He didn't really do that. We want to show people he could really do it.
Yeah.
So,
going back to what you said initially about Curt, Curt, if you going back to Charlotte for a minute or Ashley, Curt was a hell of an athlete in high school, like Ashley, and played every sport. I'm not sure why he didn't go on to college, because I'm sure he was a good enough athlete to have played a college sport. But the difference would be Ashley went to play Division I volleyball, but she played every sport, and he was that accomplished an athlete. So that made sense.
Yeah, he was a stud. He was the real deal. Yeah. And that was the thing. Everything that we showed that he did, he did.
Yeah. You know what his claim to fame is as a kid?
What?
You know the story about Mike Hegstrand, right?
Well, I was going to go there about going to the different high schools, but please.
Yeah. So, Kurt's at Robbinsdale, and Hegstrand's at downtown at, I'm drawing a blank. I'm from, I want to say Henry. But, it was like the rival gangs, not black and white, but just high school, tough guys, right?
Yeah, Robbinsdale or something like that.
Yeah, he went to Robbinsdale, yeah. So they're up at McDonald's in St. Louis Park, the neutral deal, and they're all pulling the cars. And Kurt's claim to fame is when Mike Hegstrand wasn't looking, he sucker punched Mike Hegstrand and got in the car and drove off. And, that story went on for years because Hegstrand would always stand with I still should just beat the crap out of little punk. Because hey, Mike Hegstrand was tough, guys. Make no mistake. Curt was Mr. Perfect, but he wasn't Mike Hegstrand.
Yeah,
I've been out with Mike a few
times back in the day.
Huh?
I'd witnessed a few. Mike Hegstrand.
Share one. You got a fun one that you can share?
There was a club. You remember the Stay Out in Chicago?
Oh, I've heard of it. I don't think I was ever there though.
Well, I think you were. Yeah, they have pictures, Rick.
That's where Big Show was bouncing when we found him.
Oh wow. Well, yeah, I watched Mike clear out the bar.
Yeah,
basically, and it was between Mike Hegstrand and Haku.
Yeah,
Tonga.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Now, that's the time of night which I have done 100 times. Just said it's time to go. Because
yes,
when you get Haku oiled up, and then you got a guy like Hegstrand, the greatest story of all time that Bruce, you know it, but was over in Japan with Haku and Hegstrand. You know about that, right?
No.
Well, there's a basketball team touring Japan, right? And so the guy says to Hegstrand and Haku, they're all drinking on a bar on the second floor, and one of the basketball players says, "What about that phony? How do you get all that phony blood?" So Hegstrand says to one of the little Japanese kids, he says, "Run down to the store and get me a pack of Bic razors. The Bic, the blue ones. You know,
the blue ones, yes.
Yeah."
Nobody knows what we're talking about.
Okay.
Safety razors, the blue.
Yeah, safety razors. Okay, yeah. So the kid brings it back. Mike walks into the bathroom, breaks it off, and takes the blade out, right? Walks up to the 6'8" basketball player and said, "What'd you ask me?" He said, "I asked you about that phony blood." And he took the blazer and damn near cut his head off. You didn't hear about that story?
No.
Oh, yeah. You kidding? Full scale.
I believe it.
Haku threw a guy out the second window. That's why I can't go back to Japan. Oh, yeah, guys, I was there for all of it.
We've recently gotten Haku's number, and we're going to get him on the show, Bruce, but he's like a legend online. Do you have any fun Haku stories?
God, Bruce has to have 1,000 of them.
Oh, wow, man, I'm not sure any he'd like for me to tell, at least not in a public forum.
Bruce, go ahead. The statute of limitation is gone.
Oh, okay, yeah. The East St. Louis Police Department brought out 12 guys and 2 dogs.
Yeah.
Just to subdue him enough to get him handcuffed.
Wow.
But he was saving Curt Hennig from being killed.
You know the story.
I know the story. Kid who doesn't. I used to go to East St. Louis. It was at Oz. The 2 bars there were Oz and Pops.
Right.
And they were beating the crap out of Hennig. They had him down in the parking lot, and out came Haku. And then it was 12 cops and 2 dogs. He was eating the mace. They were squirting with mace, and he was eating it.
They were spraying him in the face and the mouth, and he's got his mouth open. And he took a couple bites out of some folks.
Yeah.
And,
oh my God.
They really didn't subdue him. He finally just gave in and said, "Okay, handcuff me."
Well, they exhausted him. They didn't subdue him. He just, he fought him for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And he finally blew up, but that's the next day. That's when Arn gave him the nickname of the human Vegematic.
Oh man,
yeah, he'd bite you in
the nicest guy in the world. I don't think he would tell you any of these stories. He would just be so calm and quiet and nice. One of the great guy. Just a really sweet human being, but
first of all, he is got a heart of gold. I told Conrad this story. He was flying to Tokyo with Beth, Ashley's mom, to meet me, and I had a big match, and Haku was on the same plane, and they got had a mechanical and had to land in Hawaii, and so they checked everybody on the plane into the Holiday Inn, not some of the nice hotel, but some Holiday Inn in a bad neighborhood in Honolulu, right? And Haku slept outside of Beth's room all night long on the cement.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the kind of guy he is. I mean, if you're in his, if you have his blessing, he'll protect you. Nothing will ever happen to you. I mean, Curt Hennig. I mean, Haku got in a lot of trouble because of that. Curt skated, but if they hadn't got to Curt would still be in the hospital.
Yeah, it was. He's the kind of guy, and it's funny. We did the deal at WCW with the DX invasion, what have you. And when we got there, and everybody's going, what if Haku comes out? I said, I'll approach him because I don't think he would eat
I never thought of that. That's right.
I'll approach him because he likes me. I said, we're friends, and I said, I've done a few favors for him, and I said, I don't think he would eat me.
Did Hunter and those guys really say that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I never thought. Wait till I see Hunter Sunday. You'll never hear the end of that.
Oh. We all talked about, well, what if this one, and Road Dogg, of course, like, I got my brothers. But the other thing about that is those DX guys, every single one of them, they were fearless. It was like, hey, let's go. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And we just went in there with, this is going to be great TV.
Yeah, it's funny. I was in the building. I didn't know what was going on. You guys were in Hampton and we were in Norfolk, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you know something? That's why Vince McMahon is Vince McMahon, and I give a lot of due to Hunter because I know Hunter really pushed for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Hunter is not an aggressive type, bully type personality, but at the same time, he's not afraid.
No, none of them were, and it started with. We're all in a production meeting, and we're talking about, well, WCW's doing this, and they were kicking our ass in the ratings.
Right.
And what would you do back in the old days, back in the territory days? What would you do? And I just raised my hand and said, shit, we go knock on their door.
Yeah.
You send your toughest guys down there, go sit in the front row, make a scene, and...
You don't do that if you're number one, but you do that if you're number two.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was like, well, hell, it just so happened 2 weeks later... We're in the same vicinity. Let's go say hello.
Yeah, I loved it. The thing, and that it's no secret. I was pulling for you guys every day. Gene Oakland and I would leave Nitro, go to the closest bar and drink 12 martinis minimum, trying to get over our experience that evening at Nitro. Praying for you guys to win. Jesus, poor Gene went through two kidneys trying to get you guys back in.
Hey, Rick, we're talking about WrestleMania a little bit, and I want to kind of pick Bruce's brain here. We get this question all the time on Twitter. What, from your perspective, was the plan, and did it change, or why didn't Hulk Hogan wrestle Ric Flair at WrestleMania 8? I mean, you kind of have a different perspective. Rick says, well, I was never promised that, blah, blah, blah. But you were on the other side of the deal.
Well, actually, I wasn't. I was gone during that brief period of time.
Bruce wasn't there. When I first got there, Bruce wasn't there.
Yeah, I was on my way out as Rick was on his way in. Rick left me in the bar at the Sheraton there with Tenru and all those guys. You were coming in. I was going out.
Where was that? Was that in Houston?
No, that was in Stamford.
Oh, the bar at the Sheraton.
I was up there
right.
Seeing someone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tenru. Yeah, Bruce and I have been to so many bars. I forget. When you say a Sheraton, I keep thinking about that one night that we were at the Sheraton out there by what's the little airfield in
Hobby.
We closed that baby one night. Bruce says, I got to go home. I said, Bruce, going home's overrated.
He still uses that line on me.
Oh, yeah. You can sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, hell.
It's okay.
What would you go home for? There's nobody awake anyway.
Right, yeah. No, Rick and I have had plenty of those. It's when it starts off with, remember that bar we closed down? I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Which city?
What year? What city?
Hey, those are great memories. You're going to go to your grave with those.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And when we're at the funeral, like when you guys come to mine, just tell all the stories and tell the good ones. I can't get divorced again. I'll be dead.
Yeah. Exactly. I've got pictures of Tony Schiavone, myself, and Ric Flair in Las Vegas.
Oh God, that was the best.
Where we're at a NATPE convention,
yes.
Okay? Right. The National Association of Television Programming Executives.
Oh, God.
And Flair's there for WCW.
Yeah.
We're there for WWE. Yeah, Tony had come to work for us.
Yeah.
And
we were at Bally's.
Oh, God. And we go and we see Rick, and Rick's like, well, hang on. I got a car, man. No, we'll go out and have some drinks.
Yeah.
We get in the limo, the WTBS limo.
Yeah.
And we hit Caesars.
We went everywhere.
What we hit first.
Yeah, and then we come back. Yeah,
and we're at Caesars, man, and we got our pictures taken, and this girl was like, no, they can't take pictures with me, blah, blah, blah. And it's me and Rick kind of have this girl. She's totally clothed. Everybody was clothed. And we got I got all the pictures. So from there, we're hammered. We're drinking double Stoli Sea Breezes with lime.
Sounds
Remember
good.
it. With light beer chasers.
I could have one right now.
Okay? So we're pounding them because Rick's got to get back because he has dinner.
Yeah, with Jack Petrick.
Pounding drinks. And it was like, he's supposed to be there at 6. It's 6:45.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, well, come on over here. We'll go have a drink over at Bally's. Let's go. We all pile in the limo. We get out. And as we pull up, it was Petrick.
Yeah.
And Chip or somebody, oh, God. There was two guys. Petrick was one of them.
Yeah, Jack Petrick, who was at that point in time running WCW. So it wasn't cool.
He looks and turns back.
So
limo, that's our limo. And we get out, and I'm the first one to get out.
Wow.
And he's like, what the hell? Because I'd gone and introduced myself earlier during the day.
Sure.
And then Shivani gets out, who had left them like 6 months before that. And then here comes Rick.
Yeah.
And,
what is this, like 88, 89?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Rick kind of says, well, I've got to go and have dinner with these guys.
Yeah. Boring.
But here's the key to my room. And, yeah, it was a good night. It was a hell of a
I'll tell you, the other guy was Steve Chamberlain.
Yes.
Steve Chamberlain, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy that got me the suite and all that. I think we reconvened about 2 hours after that dinner.
Yeah. It was a good time.
Yep.
It was a real good time, man. But it was, had a few of those.
Well, Rick, let's switch gears, get back to Twitter. A little hashtag Ask Bruce action. Got a lot of questions about The Undertaker here, Bruce, and they want to know your best Undertaker story. We don't get many stories on the dead man. That comes from Mr. Barnes on Twitter.
I've got a great one for you. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, how many of them can we actually tell?
Well, I'm telling you one that's in good color.
Okay, you first then.
So they fly Taker and I over to Tokyo to wrestle one night, right? And then from Tokyo back to London, right, to wrestle one night. And then back from London to Chicago, it's me, Taker, and what is the kid's name? The two guys from Minneapolis.
Beverly Brothers?
No, yeah. What were their names?
Wayne Bloom.
Yeah, that wasn't
Mike
Enos.
Mike Enos, yeah. Mike Enos. So we drank all the way back, right? But first of all, we drank all the way from Tokyo to there and then over to London, which is another 12-hour flight, all the way back. And I told Taker, I said, I'm putting you to bed, pal. Well, apparently we landed because I don't remember. And about an hour after we landed, they were coming through and cleaning the plane. And Taker had laid me down in 3 seats in coach, right? And crossed my arms like rest in peace. And the chick goes, do you know we've landed? I go, I'm looking around. I got my arms are crossed and I'm going, where are we? She said, this plane landed an hour ago. I go, okay, thanks. I get it now. Let me think about this for a second. I know where I am.
Yeah. Yeah,
Jesus.
it was, okay.
Yeah,
in that vein.
Mark could go, man. That damn Jack, I can't do the Jack like him. Oof.
Oh, yeah. Well, same kind of vein, and we were in a adult drinking establishment, and everything got really, really kind of rowdy. And I remember waking up on the dance floor where Mark had just front face locked me and put me out and laid me down. And when I came to, he's standing over me, holds his hand out, helps me out. I said, well, what the F was that? He says, sometimes you just need to go to sleep. I was like, well, shit, okay.
Let me guess, was that place in Tampa, Florida?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't even know.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, God, Tampa, Florida, yeah. Near the airport.
It's been there forever. It's been there forever.
Yes. Yeah, we've been there before, too.
Yeah. God.
Scott Rucker on Twitter wants to know, can Bruce think of a time where he fought with Vince over a storyline or a character and the outcome?
I can't think of many storylines I didn't fight with Vince about. Good God.
You told me a funny one earlier this week about maybe WrestleMania 7, and maybe there was a change. I don't know that this is out there, but this is gold.
Okay, I bet you Rick doesn't even know this one. WrestleMania 7 was being built to go to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. 107,000 people is what we were planning on doing. And it was the whole idea, Hulk was champion at the time. Or no, Warrior might have been champion.
Warrior was
champion at the time. But the idea was that Hulk, we would have a hot heel, red hot heel, obviously, take the title from Warrior, and then Hulk would come in, All-American type deal, and face the champion, 107,000 people. Well, strange thing happened on the way to that WrestleMania, with the Iraqis, and we kind of went Desert Storm and went to war, and Saddam Hussein was a household name, and he was on, every newscast, opening story every night. And Adnan Al-Kaisi, we had been working with, and he'd come in and was doing some things, and he was actually a childhood friend of Saddam Hussein.
Wow.
Okay. In Iraq. They knew each other. Pictures, wow. Family pictures, all this stuff.
Wow.
Well, the idea was to use Adnan and get this red-hot heel to or take a quote strong baby face and have them turn heel on not only Hulk Hogan, but goddamn the United States of America. And this super red hot baby face that was going to be turned into this super just ungodly red hot heel to go to WrestleMania and fill 107,000 seats was Tugboat.
You're kidding me.
Big Fred Ottman, who, sweetheart of a guy, great guy.
Yeah.
But it was Tugboat.
Wow. Whose idea was that?
Not going to mention Vince's name in this, okay?
Okay.
So it was...
And what was his name going to be?
Huh?
What was his...
Sheik Tugboat. Going to put the thing on his head. He was going to be Sheik Tugboat. I kid you not. You can't make this up. And it was like Tugboat, and we're waiting for the punchline.
Sure.
Like, okay, come on, really? I mean, what do you got in mind for WrestleMania 7? Oh, this will be great. You got the oh God, he's huge. Those arms and that. They'll believe it when he turns on the Hulkster. And and that was just a fart in church. And so thank God, ran into Sergeant Slaughter along the way, and he and Bob started talking and brought Bob in. I said, God damn, there's your heel. Because he was G.I. Joe, for God's sake.
Yeah.
He was, arguably equal to Hogan back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the G.I. Joe action figure in the cartoons. And
so we slid Sarge into that, and then we went to war, and then we couldn't set the flag on fire, and all kinds of good stuff. But that was...
You guys didn't do it. You guys didn't do 107,000 people either, did you?
Well, no, because what happened is we went to war. We declared war the night of the Royal Rumble, the night that Sarge beat Warrior for the title.
Yep.
The idea was we were going to burn the flag that night.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Yep.
Thank God.
Yeah. That'd be haunting you to this day if you had.
Oh, but it changed the dynamic, everything changed because they came back and they weren't going to hold the Super Bowl that year because they couldn't secure it. And when we went to the authorities to say, hey, we want to do this outdoors, and they said, no, we're not going to secure it.
So that's legit. It wasn't just because of soft ticket sales.
No, it was they would not guarantee security and told us you cannot have that large of an assembly. The amount of money it would cost to secure that entire area was astronomical.
Where did you end up having it?
Right next door at the arena.
Which held how many?
12,000.
So
At the Forum?
Not saying that you couldn't have sold more than 12,000, but do you think with that card
absolutely
at that time,
not?
Okay,
No.
Okay.
No. It was the
What happened? Do you think? And this, I guess, is a layup answer. But after you pack the Sky Dome for 6, and now you're going to 7, you go from 60 or 70,000 down to 12. What changed? I mean,
the world changed. I mean, when we went declared war, everything changed. I mean, ticket sales went in the dumper.
And you don't think that was based on the championship being on the Warriors?
No, I'm talking ticket sales for everything, entertainment, everything. It just the economy it just slowed.
Expendable income,
screeching halt.
Expendable income. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
The same thing we're going through right now. You know, they only got so many dollars to spend. So
exactly.
That's where it is. Hey, Bruce, thank you for that explanation. Let me ask you another question I've never asked you. I think I know the answer, but why did they never make Roddy the champion?
Didn't think he ever needed it.
Yeah.
Just didn't think Roddy needed a belt ever.
But to me, that if they had Roddy run with that for a while and then put him and Hogan, and once again, knock some, in other words, not Piper beat Hulk, somebody else, and then Piper beat them, and then go to a big Mania. And I thought that would have been the biggest thing of all time because Roddy was hotter than hell.
Could not agree with you more.
Yeah.
For him to come back after they did 3, and Roddy went off and made his movie, and for Roddy to come back and Roddy to go back into heel mode, brother, I think he would have been one of the hottest things ever. But it was never WWF. Was never a heel champion place. They were always around. You know, we had to have that babyface champion.
Yeah, I figured it was a little bit more like because Roddy could be pretty opinionated. I could see him making demands that probably weren't going to be feasible.
No, I really think business, because Vince would do anything for business.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I think that he felt that Roddy is an attraction as Roddy Piper.
Yeah,
didn't need to be a champion. He was enough being Roddy Piper.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to Ask Bruce. We've got a couple of fun questions on here, and one of these is going to get everybody excited, I'm sure. Ask Bruce how TNA can become more mainstream and get more out of the wrestling market. This is a question everyone's been asking maybe since 2002. Both you and Rick were there. Rick, I'll let you go first.
Please.
What do you think TNA can do at this point?
Nothing. They've had their opportunity. It's not going to be there again, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm sad to say it's a dead brand.
Yeah, it's they've Sting is gone, Kurt Angle is gone, AJ Styles is gone. I mean, I'm not by any means demeaning the talent that's there, but I don't even know who's there anymore. Does that make any sense? I don't follow the show.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is changing. Matt Hardy's their champion. They've got EC3 there.
Is Matt there now? Okay.
Yeah, Jeff's still there, and Kurt's there for a little while. What's your favorite theme music from TNA, Bruce? Do you have one that jumps out?
Trouble. EC3's music. Wow. I bet it must have taken a long time to write the lyrics. Trouble. It just makes me laugh every time that I hear it because he's a talented guy.
Right.
EC3, Ethan Carter, hell of a talent, and they've got some great talent there. They really do.
Yeah, I haven't followed the show, so I wasn't demeaning anybody. I thought Jeff was hurt still, Conrad.
Well, he is, and he's going to have surgery, but he did re-sign, and he's going to be there for a little while longer. Matt's the champ there. They've got Titus there in a big role. EC3 is in a big role. So they've still got some guys.
Oh, but good.
Maybe some of the shine is gone, and let's talk about one of the guys who is kind of forever linked maybe with TNA. AJ Styles is on the main roster now. He got a big intro at the Royal Rumble, lots of fanfare, lots of attention.
I mean,
what's your thoughts, Bruce, on how he's been booked since he's been there, and what do you think is next for him?
I'm probably in the minority. I think they've done all right with him and how they've booked him, bringing him into the Rumble. having Owens eliminate him, I'd have gone with Owens and AJ instead of Jericho and AJ, where you have
It seems like that wasn't really followed up on.
Right, where you have clear established heel.
There's a motive.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and it all makes sense versus Jericho. I think Jericho can make anybody look good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chris Jericho is probably the Ric Flair of this day and age right now.
Wow.
They can go out and make anybody look good. You know, you had Ric Flair who can make anybody look good. You had Shawn Michaels who can make anybody look good. I think Jericho's at that level right now.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's doing a hell of a job. But AJ Styles, you know, there is a large portion of the country that doesn't speak New York. And AJ can relate to a lot of people. They would just let him speak. And I believe that some people within that New York bubble, or Connecticut bubble, if you will, feel that when a Southerner opens their mouth, that they're slow,
they're dumb,
and stupid, and dumb, and
they're rednecks.
Well, you know, okay, you call me a redneck. I like that. That's a compliment to me.
Offensive.
Okay? It's not offensive to me. The only one that thinks it's offensive is the Yankees that call Southerners rednecks, but they don't know they're complimenting them.
Right.
So I think if you let AJ be, just let him be that all shucks guy.
Right.
And ring the bell and let him do it, protect him, I think he could do something for him. But I don't know that they're doing him a whole lot of favors putting him with Jericho right now.
What do you think, Rick? What do you think about AJ? And what
I don't
they're doing
know
with
him.
him?
I will say this. I was shocked at the reception he got at the Rumble. Because I didn't, you know, I hadn't heard his name in so long. And, of course, I think the world of him because I was with him, you know, for a year and a half, whatever it was, before Bruce fired me.
I still have the text.
Yeah. Thank you. Because what's your name told me I didn't tell anybody. You got the text. I got it too, pal. Tell Dixie.
Please.
Yeah. We'll talk about Dean Brogdon. That's a whole podcast. Anyway. Anyway, I was amazed when he came out the door, man. They blew the roof off of the kid. I mean, and I like him. What's not to like about him? The only problem with him is he likes the Georgia Bulldogs, but, I mean, I can't make that personal, you know.
Yeah, he's going to get along with Hayes. Hey, so let's talk about this, Rick. We mentioned it earlier in the week. I don't know what you know about it, but I know, you know, Bruce was really close there for a long time, so he may be able to offer some perspective. The Titus O'Neil suspension, it got the whole Internet talking last week. Bruce, you were there for a long time. What's your take on that?
Well, I think that not knowing what all is going on behind the scenes right now, but I could see a situation of if things were a little lax behind the scenes and a lot of guys messing around and ass grabbing and fooling around and not taking things seriously perceived, that Vince may have hit a point where at that moment you have a solid moment there with Daniel Bryan. He's coming back. And guys are messing around on the stage. And so it may have been a snap moment that Vince was like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Guys screwing around, not taking shit seriously, don't want them around me. And it could be that simple.
So you think maybe he just caught him on a bad day or made an example of him?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Well, Rick, you've been around the bunch.
Yeah, you know what?
What's your perspective?
Were you there?
I didn't bring it up. Because it's pretty. I've got the feeling it was kind of a touchy subject, and I heard what Steve had to say about it, you know, and I'm pretty much on board with what Steve said. You know, I mean, as well as I know Vince, I would never grab Vince, but knowing Titus like I know him, I'm sure he didn't mean any harm.
Right.
But Vince put a lot into that Daniel's retirement, and it was a pretty emotional deal, and probably like Bruce said. He wasn't feeling like getting jerked around a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know him a lot better than Titus does. I wouldn't jerk him around. I mean, we know I've been out socially with him when we've played around, but not at business. Funny, he doesn't joke around at business.
Right.
I mean, when you're on a SmackDown or a pay-per-view or a Raw day, it's very little. There's a lot of camaraderie, and he always has a word for you and time to talk to you and that. But the playtime stuff, especially when it's getting their pay-per-view time and that, I don't see that ever taking place. I mean, I think of myself as a guy that can make anybody laugh and have fun, and like I'll say to him, I hope you can appreciate the entertainment value I'm bringing to you these days. He'll say, I do. I mean, it's hard to get him to loosen up. You know what I mean? So, but I get it. He's got a lot going on. I mean, it's the company has gotten huge and they're getting bigger. The brand's getting bigger, and I mean, I can remember when I was there when he told me, and I'm sure Bruce heard it long before I did, that nobody. He didn't have any competition in the wrestling business, that his only competition was Disney.
Yep.
That's what he said to me one time, and now he doesn't feel like he has any competition. So, and then the rumor went around that Rupert Murdoch was going to go up against him, and you know what? The estimated, this was 10 years ago, the estimated price would cost for Rupert Murdoch back then to open up against Vince. It's 10 years ago now. 15. Take a guess.
Wow, $10 billion.
$450 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's contracts, equipment. I mean, if you look at what the company, look at 22 18-wheelers now. I mean, you kidding me? And how many hotels on a Monday or a Sunday have got 230 or 280 people in them? That's a lot of overhead, guys.
And I know, this is something that you're talking about. TNA and what can they do and what did they do? It's a completely different scenario where Vince McMahon would go out and buy a $60,000 brand new Lincoln Town car to drive it for 1 hour and destroy it that night. Because by God, The Rock wouldn't drive anything that wasn't brand spanking new off of a showroom floor.
Right.
People will know that.
Yeah.
And it was $60,000 to smash it and destroy it.
Yeah, I know.
But those were things that he does every week.
Right.
That makes a difference. You have to spend money to make money, and Vince is not afraid to invest. He's not afraid to take chances. He's not afraid to gamble and just jump out there. And if it falls on his ass, it falls on his ass. He flushed a $200,000 show open that I built one time. $200,000.
He did what now? He what?
He flushed it.
Wow.
He approved it all the way until the end. We presented him with the finished product. That sucks.
What year would that have been?
That was 1990-ish, 89, 90-ish.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the other person who kind of beats that same drum about Vince will spend money on the show, and you hear that pretty consistently from, is maybe somebody who's fun to mention here as we start to wrap things up, Vince Russo. His argument was he wasn't able to replicate the same success that he had after WWF because the WWF would allow him a budget to do so. And when he didn't have that at his disposal, his ideas weren't as well received or as well executed, rather. Your thoughts?
Well, he had a hell of a budget at WCW.
Well, maybe TNA is the more specific example. But my question on that, and we had Vince on the show, and I like him, and I realize you may not. But
no, I do. I like Vince. I don't have a problem with Vince. It's just, Vince has his perception of how things went,
sure.
and I have my perception of how things went, and they're different.
Right.
Completely different. I looked at it from a completely different viewpoint than he did.
Well, back in the day, when Jim Crockett was doing big business, he didn't have to have tanks and explosions, and he didn't have to pour concrete into Corvettes or smash Lincoln Town cars, and he was still able to draw. So isn't there something to be said about just the principles of what works in wrestling work?
Times have changed, Jim Cornette.
Yeah,
love Jimmy Cornette, too.
That's because he had me, Conrad.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, that explains it.
But, Rick, Jim Crockett was doing laser shows and fireworks and the whole big production before anybody else was doing all that stuff.
Dusty brought all, and that's a misconception. Dusty was doing all that, and as far as spending money, I spend enough money on my personal wardrobe and robes and boots to equal what Vince was spending on the company. So,
right.
Figure that budget out. Who spends 3 times in 1 year what they made? Ric Flair.
This is true.
Thank you, Bruce. That's enough out of you.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Listen, thanks for finding my belt the night I left it with you in Houston.
Oh, that's a fun story.
Hey,
What's the deal there?
he left the belt in the locker room.
With
No,
one
I
of
didn't
them?
leave it in the locker room. I left it in somebody's car.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
it, didn't we?
They got upset and left. Where's my belt?
Yeah.
Where's my bag, period?
We got. You know what? I don't think I've ever told this story. I might have told you.
What?
You know, we had a United States brass knucks champion. Okay, it was Fritz's old United States championship belt, the original one that Fritz had back in the.
When
60s.
you say we, you're saying Bosch.
Bosch, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so we made it into a brass knucks title. Well, Brody was the champion for a little bit. And Frank was riding with me. We were going around the loop and everything. And Frank leaves one night. And we forget about the title because Frank's gone. About 6 months later, everybody's like, well, Brody just left with the belt. Brody stole the belt. Time goes on. I finally decide to clean out my car. I go to clean out my car, and in the trunk of my car, in a brown paper bag, is the belt.
Wow.
And I was so scared, I never told anybody, and it's sitting up in my office to this day. But it's like, Conrad and I like to talk about, the belts, the ever-elusive, that one.
Yeah.
And that's how I got the United States Brass Knucks Championship I got. And I broke my son's heart. True story, just the other day when he came in, and I think I was telling that story to somebody. He goes, "Dad, I thought you won that."
Oh, wow. How awesome is that?
Yeah,
Hey.
I know.
Hey, you just mentioned a name. I mean, let's say the wish factor. If you ever could have seen a match, Brody and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
You finished the for him.
They would have
God,
paid.
yes.
They would have paid to see that.
Yeah.
So, Rick, real quick before we get out of here, let's go ahead and put a bow on our fantasy booking of WrestleMania since we've got Bruce here.
Okay.
You booked WCW for a long time. If you were pulling the strings right now, who would you put against Brock, and who would you put against The Undertaker this year at WrestleMania?
Oh boy! Based on what I'm watching, based on what I'm seeing at TV,
Sure.
I think a good opponent for Brock, but I have no idea what's going on, would be Bray Wyatt. Because Bray is, a big, strong guy, and, he had a hell of a match with Undertaker last year. I mean, aside from that, I don't think we have anybody that's big enough on the roster or famous enough, in terms of branding right now, to wrestle Brock. I think Bray Wyatt would be a great possibility, but I can't tell what direction they're going with that.
What about The Undertaker?
The Undertaker, I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't think I keep hearing that name, Braun Strowman, but I just don't think, in all fairness to Ron, he has the experience. So I don't know. I wish I could give you an answer. Bruce, maybe you've got a better one. Conrad,
I really don't.
You're always good at this. I don't know.
Yeah. If you went outside in a perfect world, maybe Goldberg and Undertaker would be an attractive match. Mm-hmm. And for Brock, maybe you could heat Del Rio up enough and make it mean something. I just don't think it would right now.
I think Del Rio would be great
Wyatt,
too, but they'd have to start from scratch because they haven't even.
Yeah.
They'd have to start something brand new on Monday, or have Del Rio do something on Sunday. I love Del Rio, but I didn't. Especially now that I know his background.
Yeah.
But he's a phenomenal performer. But I don't have any idea, guys. I guess the key thing is they're going to set an all-time record, and the people are going to get a great show, and the people that are putting in all these hours, like Hayes and Vince and Hunter and Stephanie and Road Dogg and Arn and Scotty and all those kids, Jamie Noble, Fit Finley, those guys are busting their ass to make sure that the company puts out a hell of a show, which they always do. He never lets them down.
Any chance you think Randy Orton makes it back in time for one of those matches, maybe?
I'm told it's not. We won't be ready.
Wow.
Randy's shoulder surgery was a lot more serious than people understand. He even had it done by a different surgeon this time because he wanted to make sure that And I don't think, if it pops out just pounding the mat, you know what I'm saying? Where he pounds the mat when he gets down in that stance.
Yeah.
We can imagine what would happen if he took a German from Brock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it. So, real quick, before we let Bruce get out of here, tell me your thoughts, Rick, about your match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania. It was your first WrestleMania back. That was back at WrestleMania 18. Mm-hmm. And, it's a big deal to wrestle The Undertaker at WrestleMania, whether it was now or it was back then. Do you remember how that came about?
Yeah, I remember it. I've told the story. It actually got me going again because, at that point, I had no self-confidence. I didn't come back with the idea of wrestling. The deal we'd made, I was just going to be the co-owner and then do whatever, manage somebody or whatever. And, of course, I was there a month, and then I'm in the Royal Rumble. And then Hunter walked up to me and said, hey, Taker wants to wrestle you in Toronto. And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, Taker wants to. And, of course, then I froze again because I wasn't ready for that. I mean, I'd been off for, 2 years, and then – but I'll tell you what, he got me through it, and it got me going. My confidence after that match, my confidence was right back on. I missed the flip the first time. He backed me up and said, "Don't let it happen again, kid." He threw me in again, and I made the flip, and he gave me the boot. Went down, got the blade out. The rest was home. It was a homecoming because when Arn hit him with the spinebuster, they thought we had him beat. I mean, we blew the roof off that thing. When Arn hit him with that spinebuster, rolled out to the floor, and I covered him, and he kicked out. It was home free from there. So
yeah, it's one of Arn's best spine busters ever. Do you remember how that match came about?
Just like you said, Taker asked for it.
Wow.
Taker wanted to work with Rick.
Yeah.
And
I had worked with Taker a lot in the 90s, just like at the Garden and stuff like that. Yep. And he knew that I was, he's right up my alley. In other words, those kind of guys are the kind of guys that I can really work with because I don't have a lot of offense and I can take a lot of bumps from them. That's what made me, like whether it be Hulk or Lex or Sting. I mean, Taker, of course, having a lot more offense than any of the people I just mentioned, but I could take the bumps that he gave. You know what I mean? And me smacking him and him not selling it, and me putting the figure, hitting him with brass knucks and putting the figure forearm, and then having him sit up and goozle me. I mean, it was easy. I mean, it was like the easiest thing I've ever done. And we could wrestle 30 minutes or we could wrestle 15. But WrestleMania, I was 54 years old. That was a big deal for me.
Well, also, and again, you touched on it a little bit. You didn't think you were Ric Flair before that. You were in that slump.
Oh,
you doubted everything you did.
Yep.
You came back. Was that okay? Was that okay? Well, I don't know. I didn't feel it. Wasn't good. I didn't like. You didn't like anything you did.
I know.
And I remember sitting there one night and having a conversation with you, and I just looked at you and said, "Dude, you're Ric Flair. Just go be Ric Flair. You're Ric Flair."
Yeah, I know, Bruce.
You don't have to do anything else.
No, Bruce, I appreciate that. And I mean, I look back on those moments now and I say, thank God for the number of friends I had to support me. But when you lose your self-confidence, and trust me, WCW whacked me twice. They whacked me in 91. I came back up, won the Royal Rumble. I was flying high. Then I went back again like an idiot, and then came back, and then it was just gone. I mean, they did nothing but run me in the ground. So anyway,
you come back and say, "Well, I can't do that anymore. I can't do that." So then don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay? A quarter of what you can do is better than 100% of what everybody else is doing.
Well, that's what I thought. Just leaving that on a high note.
Yeah.
Bruce, thank you for joining the show today.
Bruce, thank you so much.
Have you in.
How's the family, Bruce?
Everybody's great, man.
Good deal.
Everybody's great, man. Kids are driving and being crazy. Hey, Rick, my daughter went to regionals in wrestling.
You're kidding me.
No.
Oh, my God. What weight class?
138.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, she was in the tournament before regionals. They get a challenge, like for third and fourth place, and she was, I think, either third or fourth.
Oh,
and
phenomenal.
some kid challenged her for her spot to go to regionals, and she was so pissed off that she destroyed this kid in 18 seconds.
Oh,
and
that's
pinned her.
great,
And I look at her and I said, "Baby, why couldn't you do that? With the other match?" She goes, "She really pissed me off."
Yeah.
get pissed off all the time. But yeah.
Hey, congratulations. That's awesome. Everybody's in good health?
Everybody's good, man. Thank you.
Well, I want you to know that I will be with Conrad in Houston on the 5th of April.
Awesome. I'll be there.
I expect to see you there during the show at SmackDown, and after there will be a showing at the local bar.
I'll be there.
We will have it out, okay? We will
definitely be there.
We will tell more stories. We'll have a great time, okay?
All right, sir.
Love you, man. Thank you for everything.
Champ.
Conrad?
Thanks, Rick.
Conrad?
Yes, sir.
Get that Casper going tonight, man, okay?
Hey, I'm going to put some miles on mine. You do the same. How's that?
Woo! Bye, guys.
See you, bud.
Bye.